Hello, everyone, and happy Wednesday. It is Brian here from Strigler Photography, and we are 1 week away from Christmas. And my mind is just blown. It happens every year and with a lot of different things, but it just amazes me how quickly time passes by. And I feel like I'm still in November, but here we are. It's the 18th of December already. And I'm sure a lot of you are finding that that same feeling is happening with your wedding. So you may have gotten engaged and you set the date a year in advance, maybe a year and a half, I don't know. And all of a sudden you're like, oh man, 3 months have already gone by. 4 months have already gone by. My wedding's next week, whatever. And it's just so funny to see how, just how quickly time passes by. It's just crazy. I was talking to someone the other day and I was like, man, I've been doing weddings for, I want to say it's 11 years now. It's really hard to remember. And it's just crazy to think it's been that long. And this is my fourth school year, not teaching and just doing photography full time. It's just crazy how quickly all this stuff passes. And you just got to enjoy the moments and you got to take advantage of your time and just knock everything out as much as you can. So anyway, I'm trying to waste a few minutes so we can see if some more people jump on. So hopefully if you celebrate Christmas, hopefully you've got all your gifts figured out, because even with Amazon's amazingness, you still may not be able to get anything in time with all the shipping issues and stuff that's going on. Hopefully you've told everyone what you want, and hopefully you get what you want. So it's so funny with children, and I promise I won't just ramble on forever. My youngest son, I've managed to kind of manipulate him into what I'm having him tell people that what he wants for Christmas, which he probably would want it. So we went to Sam's probably like a month ago, and at the front there was a go-kart, and the kids were like getting it in, and they were messing around with it. I was like, man, that's awesome. I wish we had a go-kart. And so I've trained my youngest son, my 3-year-old, to tell everyone that he wants a go-kart, in the hope that maybe my father or someone else will magically provide us with an awesome go-kart to drive around. The downside is, if no one else buys it, I may be stuck having to buy it, so I don't have a really sad 3-year-old for the next year and a half. Anyway, okay, I have been wasting time for about 3 minutes now, and hopefully anyone else is going to be popping up. Hopefully I get some people on here soon. So we are talking about how to get your fiance involved in the wedding. And this could be as far as like planning, or a lot of these things will actually apply, like them being involved on the day of too. Because a lot of the stuff with planning will determine how involved they are on the actual day. So like if you don't plan stuff and they're not involved in the planning, then they're probably not going to be very involved on the actual wedding day as well. And they probably aren't going to enjoy it that much either. So hopefully these tips help. Hopefully this is going to help you with that relationship and with the planning and just getting that perfect wedding. All right, so let's jump into a little disclaimer. So, not all fiancés are going to, not be involved, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. And also, as far as fiancés, I'm probably going to say he a lot. I know we have some same-sex couples in the group, and I know it's not always that way where there's just a he. But I'm generalizing things, and I'm not trying to offend anyone or anything like that. It usually is the guy that is not as involved. So also, yeah, no, there's lots of, I promise you, we had a comment. I promise you, there are a lot of people that are running into this situation. Guys are just this way. And so that, again, this is why when I say he, it's mainly guys that are not going to be the ones that are super pumped and super enjoying wedding planning and are like, yay. It's mainly going to be the girls who are loving this. And yeah, so I'm mainly referring to the person that's not as excited or pumped. I mean, if you're here and in this group and you're watching this video, you probably love the idea of planning a wedding and you're probably really excited. but your fiance may not fall into that same category. So again, I'm not trying to offend anyone if I keep saying he, but it could apply to lots of people. Alrighty. Let's jump over and actually start talking about stuff. So I'm going to start with my wedding story because I kind of, it's really funny that you think about it now as a wedding photographer, but I was one of those people, one of those guys, one of those grooms that you'd be like, man, he's not helpful at all. So I've been married for 13 years now, going on 14 years. We got married young. We were 23, right out of college. So, I mean, I was young and stupid. Let's just be honest here. So as far as like the wedding, I really did not care much about weddings. I kind of just wanted it to be over with. And I don't remember exactly why I felt that way. I didn't like being the center of attention. I didn't like people watching me. I'm a lot more outgoing than I used to be. And I don't know, maybe it was a money issue. I honestly don't remember. Maybe I just didn't like wedding stuff, but I really was not involved, and my poor wife had to do all the planning. So I had very little input into the whole process. Now, and some of that was most of that was probably on me and my fault, but some of it was probably also that she just didn't ask me anything, and she didn't ask my opinion about stuff. And she just probably thought, oh, he doesn't care about this. And I probably didn't, but I don't recall her talking to me a whole lot about the little intricate things that were involved in the planning the wedding. And as far as my wedding went, I had a good time. I was surrounded by my friends. But when I look back at it, there's definitely a lot of things I would have done differently, especially now that I've seen weddings for the past 11 years or whatever. And there's definitely some regret on my end as far as not being more involved and not doing more and not being opinionated and having us do more stuff than what we did. So again, this is why I do these videos. This is why I try and help people, because I hate when people have regret, and I want everyone to have a wonderful wedding. So it's funny that now as a wedding photographer, but before I was a pretty sucky groom and didn't really care about weddings. Strange how things change, isn't it? So if you're watching this, you're probably going to be the one planning most of this stuff. That doesn't mean that the other person isn't going to be involved, but you are the one who's probably going to be the most involved, and you're probably the one that's going to make the final say in a lot of things. Okay, so let's talk about some reasons why these guys are not involved. Ladies, this might be a little gut check on some of y'all, because some of this stuff probably applies to you. So, number one, you're already doing all of it. You're like completely in control. You're making all the decisions already. So you're not really like giving them any kind of option. I mean, if you're like gung-ho running out there making decisions, I mean, how are they supposed to be involved? Which goes into the next one. If you haven't asked them, how are they supposed to do anything? With both of those, I mean, my wife is pretty, what type? I guess it's a type A. She's pretty in control of things and knocks things out. So a lot of the times when I see her like banging things out and in control, I'm not going to step in and try and stop her from doing things. So a lot of the times we as guys, we see the bride and she is in planning mode and just boom, boom, boom. It's hard for us to like step in there and say, hey, what about this? Because we don't want to, get him interrupt them or whatever, which leads to the next one. There's a lot of pressure on a wedding day, and the guy doesn't want to be the one to make a mistake and mess something up. So if we gave an opinion on something and then it turned out to just really blow up, we would feel horrible about that. Not because we care as much about the wedding, but we know that you're not going to be happy and we ruined something for you. So like, for example, if we had a very strong opinion about using our friend as the DJ, and then it turns out our friend is irresponsible and doesn't really have great equipment or whatever, and the music gets screwed up, the microphones don't work, we're going to feel really awful about that. So a lot of guys don't get involved because they are scared of messing something up. I don't know if I fell into that. I might have fallen into that a little bit. And the last, there are some guys that just don't care about wedding stuff. I mean, they care about football. You ask them about sports, and they'll talk to you for 30 minutes about their favorite player or their favorite team. But, wedding stuff just isn't really something they care about. They don't care about the color scheme. They don't care about the decorations or the flower types, So, I mean, some guys just don't care about that stuff. And there's probably a few other reasons out there as well. But these are the ones that I've kind of run into the most as far as why guys or your fiance just aren't really involved in the planning. Okay. So let's talk about how you can kind of fix some of these things. The biggest thing is communication. Make sure you talk to them. So before you just go and plan every single thing about the wedding day, oh yeah, you're just like, oh, by the way, this is where we're getting married. This is when, this is what you're wearing, show up. Before you do all that stuff, talk to them. Okay. Find out how they feel about stuff. Okay. Do they want to be involved? So all those things we listed above in the last slide, see if any of that stuff applies to them. Do they just not care? Are they scared? Do they not want to stop you because you're pretty controlling? See where they fit into all of this. See what they say. You never know. You might be really surprised what they tell you. And then in the end, guys, let them be as involved as they want to be. I feel like a lot of guys get really pressured into being involved, and it makes it just like this big bummer for them. They're being dragged to bridal shows. They're being dragged to cake. Well, cake tasting would be pretty awesome. They're being dragged around to all these different things that they don't care about at all. And they're going because you've guilt tripped them into it. And you know what that does? It creates resentment. It makes them not want to be part of this wedding. It makes them not have fun. It makes them, annoyed, whatever. So I would suggest to let them be as involved as they want to be, guilt-free. So don't shame them if they say they don't want to go to something with you. Because in the end, you would rather have them be happy and have a positive feeling about the wedding than, having some kind of little anger issue about, oh, she made me do this, this, and this. This wedding is no fun. It sucks. Okay. So talk to them, find out what they want to do. Let them be as involved as they want. All right. So I've kind of simplified this, and it may not be exactly right, but I've kind of narrowed it down to 3 different types of fiancés that you might run into. Number 1 is the super involved and opinionated. Number 2 is kind of the middleman who wants to help, but only a little. And then you have the person that goes, boo, weddings. So we're going to talk about each one of those and kind of how you can deal with them and what they're going to probably be thinking and what are some ways to get them involved and how you should go about that. And by the way, if you have any questions or stuff, feel free to throw it in. I am kind of jumping back and forth to look at the comments and see if anyone has any thoughts or whatever. We've had several people kind of jump back in and watch, but not a whole lot being said. Okay. So our first person is the super involved and opinionated. This is probably how you really want or at least you think you want your fiance to be. They're just as excited as you. They care about everything. They want to be there for every decision. They have opinions on everything. And it's basically like a copy of you. So there's like 2 of you trying to plan a wedding, which sounds like a good thing. But then again, when you have a lot of opinions, sometimes that equals problems. So they may try and take over some of the process. So some of the things that you really care about, there's some guys that are very opinionated and very strong-willed, and they will try and tell you, this is how we're going to do it, and this is what's happening. And I don't think you want that to happen for your wedding. And it's also going to slow down the process. I mean, when you have two people trying to make a decision on every single thing, it's going to be really long and drawn out. And of course, as I said, this could cause some friction between the two of you because, you know, your opinions aren't always going to line up. So yes, it's awesome that your fiance is really involved and opinionated, but there are some issues that you're going to run into, you know, with that as well. And of course, you may just have the fiance who's just super involved and not opinionated, and they're just kind of like, yay for everything. And that would probably be the best world, where they're just really excited, but they still let you choose everything. All right. So the big thing, and I've mentioned this before, is communicate with them, okay? Make sure you're both being open about everything, about how you feel. So if he's steamrolling you and trying to tell you this is how we're going to do it, make sure you communicate. I don't want to do that. I don't like that. Okay, I don't want you guys wearing Hawaiian shirts at our wedding. And you have to compromise with each other. I mean, if you wanted him involved, you have to give him something. So don't be like, sorry, you're not getting anything out of this, and I'm going to be the one who's completely in charge. So communicate with him, compromise on some things. What you might do is you might just, you know, take everything and kind of divide it up and give each person what they care about. So like I said, if he really cares about something, you give him like half the things and only the things he cares about, and then you pick the things that you care about, and then you both go your own way. And so then you both make decisions and you both get what you kind of want. The only issue with that is you want to make sure all your decisions are kind of matching up a little bit. So like, again, if he just randomly decided to change the theme of your wedding with his outfit, that's probably not going to work very well. Okay. Another idea, I mean, if you're having issues, is give each person like one veto. So like you get one veto in this whole decision-making process. You better save it for something that you really hate. And then you can use that one veto, and I can't argue with you about it, and I can't complain. You get to say no to something, and that's that. Okay. So honestly, you're probably not going to run into a lot of fiancés that are this person, but there are probably some out there. And I know as a photographer, I've run into some guys that sounded like they were in this field. All right, our second person, and this is where most guys are going to fall. They want to help, but only a little bit. They want to put out, I mean, they care about their wedding and they want to be involved, and they want to put the impression on that they're really excited and they care about all this, you know, whatever. But when it comes down to it, they don't want to be super involved. They do not want to be there for every single decision. They don't want to be asked about every single thing. They have other things they care more about and would rather be doing. But again, at least they care some, and they do want to be involved, but they don't want their whole life to revolve around planning this wedding. Okay, so what do we do about these guys that are kind of involved, but you know, they don't want to be just doing it their entire life? Okay, so give them some responsibilities, but again, don't overwhelm them. Don't make it too much for them, because then they're going to fall into that more of the don't care, don't like this. And again, talk to them, find out what they care about. So maybe they like things like the music, they care about cake and food, photographer, what they're going to wear. They care about alcohol a lot. And there's a lot of other things they may care about, but find out what they actually care about. And then from that list, you can put them in charge of like 1 to 2 things. And for the rest of the things they care about, you can ask their opinion about that. And then all the stuff that they don't care about, don't even ask them, because they don't want to be involved that much. They want to be involved with the things they care about, but they don't want to be involved in all that other stuff that you're just going to make the decision anyway. All right, let me see if we've got anything. All right, we got some more people hopping in. Still don't have any questions, but that is perfectly fine. Hopefully, again, this has been helpful. I said most guys are going to fall into this category. So hopefully this information right here that I just said is going to be the most important to you guys. So again, give them some stuff to be involved with, but don't just smash their face in. Like looking back, this is probably where I should have fallen with my wedding. I should have been at least somewhat involved and somewhat controlled, because there are things, like I said, looking back, that I wish I had said and wish I had more opinions about and control over, but I didn't. So this is probably where I would have fallen, or like if I magically got married again, this is where I would fall right now. And to our last person, which I hope none of you have to deal with, is the boo weddings guy. And they're not always negative. I say boo weddings and it sounds like they're really negative, but they may not be negative. They just might not care at all. Okay. So these type of fiancés don't really care or like the idea of weddings. And that may just be some macho stuff that's stuck in their head. And they may really eventually love weddings. So again, I'm speaking from my own experience here. So back when I was young and stupid, I was like, oh, weddings are stupid. I don't really like all the stuff you have to dress up. And now look at me. This is what I do all the time. So I thought I didn't like weddings. I actually enjoyed my wedding, and that kind of opened up my mind. So a lot of guys may just think they don't like weddings, but a lot of them really will, and you can help them like their wedding. So there are things you can do to kind of switch these guys over and make it where they will enjoy it. So some reasons why they may not like the weddings. Maybe they don't want to spend money. Like it's really expensive. And they're like, oh, why am I paying $5,000 for this venue? We can just do it in my backyard for free. How much am I having to spend on clothes? I already have a suit. Why am I spending all this money on a suit? Maybe they don't like being the center of attention. Everyone's going to be looking at me all day long. They're going to watch me and make me, the photographer is going to make me do weird stuff and have a camera aimed at me the whole time. Or like I said, maybe they just don't like the kind of the girly stuff. We have to put flowers everywhere and decorate all this stuff. Ugh. So a lot of them maybe just are ready for it to be over and just are already kind of frustrated with the whole situation. Again, hopefully you don't have any of these type people. So how can we deal with these fiancés that are either don't care or kind of in a negative mindset about things? Okay, I would still ask them up front, because you never know what they're going to say. Maybe they're angry because they think that you're just going to control everything and they're not going to have an opinion. Okay, so ask them and see if there's anything that they care about. See if they want to be involved. See if there's something they want to, plan or figure out themselves. So a lot of the guys will probably be like, no, I don't care about any of this. If you run into a negative groom, he may have opinions, but they may be really negative. So you asked, try and compromise with them, first of all. And if they're still just being completely negative and, just not working with you, go ahead and do what you want, because they're going to be negative probably no matter what you do at that point. But at least you tried to compromise and work with them and, make something happen. Let's see. Where was I? Okay. Yeah. So even if they say they don't want to be involved at all, here's a way to kind of trick them, help them have a good time at the wedding. Tell them that you're wanting to do something special for them because you want them to enjoy the wedding. Okay. Tell them like, I know you don't like the idea of all this, and I appreciate that you're going to go through with this for me to make me happy, but I want to do something special for you. I want the day to have importance to you, and I want you to have fun. What could I do for you? So I wrote a list of some random things, and it could be this or something completely different. So maybe they get to have a special activity with the groomsmen. It could be the morning of, it could be the night before. Make something really cool happen for them. Okay. Let them go out to the casino. I don't know. I can't think it. Let them go play golf in the morning, whatever. So something where they're getting to do an activity and have fun on their own. Let them choose a groom's cake or make a really cool groom's cake for them. Let them, if they really like a certain type of food, maybe you can have that made just for them and then feed the rest of your guests something else. Maybe they want to have control of the song for the first dance or maybe for the grand entrance. Okay. I know some guys that really care about that kind of stuff. Or you could just give him a really special gift like the day of, something that you know is just going to blow his mind and make him really happy. Okay. Let's see if we have any comments or anything going on. All right. I've still got people on, but nothing being said. Okay. So here's my overall thoughts. Let them be as involved as they want without judgment. Okay. There's no reason to force them to go to things, and if they don't want to go and you just sit there and give them that frowny face and act all sad, because then they're probably going to go, but they're not going to be happy about it. Okay. They're just going to really hate it the whole time. And again, you've built that negative mindset already. Let them be as involved as they want to be. Okay. Now, if they have an opinion, take it seriously. If they say something, they'll be like, oh, no, there's no way we're doing that. That is stupid. That's not going to happen. How could you even say that? If you say that to a guy, they are going to shut down and they're never going to give you an opinion again. So when they say something, even if it is stupid, even if it's the dumbest idea in the world, don't just completely shut them down and make them feel dumb, because they will not say anything else about the whole wedding. I promise you. Okay. If there are things that they really care about, let them have some say in it. Okay. You may not give them complete freedom, but at least let them have some control over it. So like if they're, I don't know, if they're wanting to pick the DJ, if you're worried about them picking someone really bad, let them narrow it down to 3 people. And then you guys can decide from the 3 people which one, to go with. Big overall, try and make it fun for them and try not to make it stressful, because most guys aren't just in love with weddings. And if you make it miserable, they're going to like it even less. And here's one last little tip as far as I go. It makes us sound like dogs, but reward them for things. So if your fiance goes with you, I don't know, to look at flowers, then let him go out and hang out with his buddies at the bar, or I don't know, take him out to eat, or do something to reward him. So you want to have a positive experience attached to something that they may not necessarily love. Because again, overall, you want to make this a pleasant experience for everyone involved. All right, I'm about to wrap it up. Does anyone have any questions, anything about this? I have no idea how long the delay is again. Okay, so while I'm waiting to see if anything pops up, guys, again, I hope this was helpful. I know this is a challenging subject for a lot of you. I mean, planning a wedding is challenging by itself, but when you're having to do it all by yourself with no opinions coming from that other person, or they're just really negative about it all, that makes it even worse. But I promise you, if you try a few of the things I've mentioned here, it's going to make it better. They still may not be extremely involved, but at least it's going to keep it from being a horrible experience for them, and kind of creating that negative experience where they're just like, this sucks, I don't want to be at this wedding, blah 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 blah. Okay. As always, guys, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. If you have something else you'd like me to talk about, I won't do this next Wednesday because it's Christmas, but maybe Monday or something. So if you have something you'd like me to hop on here and talk about, feel free to comment on this video or comment somewhere else. And, I will do my best to talk about it. Or if it's something you just want to talk to me personally about, send me a message and I will get on it. All right. So 1 week till Christmas. I hope you guys just having a wonderful time planning your wedding. I hope everything is just going smoothly and awesome. And, if you celebrate Christmas, I hope it is a great time surrounded by family and friends, and you get that present that you want, like my go-kart that I'm hoping I get. All right, guys. Thank you so much. See you later.